Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, hope you'll stay. Today I'm going to be talking about my first ever successful shift. So let's go all the way back to 2022 when I shifted for the first time, which was approximately 13 months after I learned about shifting. And the first time I shifted was actually by accident, which when I say that, I mean that I didn't do anything shifting related. I wasn't doing a method, I wasn't listening to a subliminal, I wasn't saying affirmations. I was actually taking a break from shifting. I don't remember what for, but I remember taking a break from it because, and I do this every time, but whenever shift talk or like any kind of negativity towards shifting makes me think negatively about shifting, it gives me a sign that I need to step back and let it go temporarily. And I think this was like 3 days into the break, and I went to bed like normal, did what I normally do, scroll TikTok or whatever I was doing back then, and then I fall asleep, and then I wake up and I'm standing up somewhere else. And I always wondered how that would feel, but it felt normal. And I'm gonna talk about like how it felt and stuff like that after. I don't like saying that I woke up in this reality because I was standing up, it was daytime, and I was in a train station, like in the hallway of a train station. So I always explain it as that I fall asleep here and I open my eyes somewhere else. And so I'm in this hallway of a train station, like an entry hallway kind of thing. And to the left and to the right of me, there are these bakeries or shops with some kind of like food or drink that you can grab with you to go for these trains. I walk to the left, and to the left, in front of this bakery shop place, there are a bunch of metal chairs and tables that I will probably put a picture up. I forgot to put a PSA on that, but whenever I have a hard time explaining something, I will put a picture up showing it. And these metal chairs and tables, they're kind of like the stereotypical ones that your grandparents have out in their yard to like look at birds and enjoy the weather and stuff like that, and just like sitting. And as I'm walking across to the opposite side, as I'm like halfway, almost halfway there, I would say, a guy who has his back turned towards me turns around to face me and is holding a brown heart, either made of paper mache or like actual chocolate. I'm not sure, I didn't get a close enough look. He looked at me and he was like, "Do you want to be my Valentine's Day?" Or like Valentine's date, or like, "Do you want to be my Valentine?" I think he actually said. And I was flattered, I felt very flattered, but I put my hand on his back and I was like, "I'm sorry, I wish I could, but I can't." Because I felt this obligation to say no, because if I said yes to him, then I had to say yes to others. That was kind of like what I felt in that moment. And so when I keep walking, this man had the audacity, the gallbladder, the heart, the ass to mumble loud enough for me to hear. Well, I was just asking to ask. "Excuse me?" And what I get from that is that he doesn't have a date for Valentine's Day, which is apparently soon, at least so soon that he's desperate enough to ask anyone. So he asked me because I was walking by, not because he knew me from anything. Just because I was a stranger and he was desperate enough that he needed a date. And that doesn't bruise my ego or anything at all. And so I get up to the top. I was in the left bottom and I'm walking up to the top right corner, and then I walk straight down, and as I'm walking down I get a memory from a movie I was in, so now we know I'm an actor. Great, love that. And since shifting back here, I've tried to look up the movie, haven't found it. I looked up everything that was key to this memory that I got, but apparently it doesn't exist here, at least yet. And it was a movie, I don't remember the whole thing, I just saw like an image from a scene, from like 2 different scenes I think. But from what I remember, because my memory here sucks as it is already, and then having to remember something that happened 3 years ago, It was me and 3 girls looking out of this window that was maybe at least 10 feet tall and double as wide. We were in a spaceship looking out of this glass window, looking at a planet, I assume. It was something that was illuminating us up, like the sun was giving it light, which was reflecting back up to us in the spaceship. And all of a sudden this spaceship blows up and we die. And then there are like forensics and scientists and all of these fancy words for people with job titles that can figure out what, or might figure out what had happened. But they try and find whatever debris from this spaceship that blew up, that had hopefully landed back on Earth, whatever they could find. And they tried to put these pieces back together and figure out why it blew up. And that's all I remember, except for one of these scientists slash forensics was Rebel Wilson. I don't remember who the other girls were. I remember one of them being a tall, not taller than me, but around my height. Maybe a little taller, maybe a little shorter, I don't know, but she was a redhead. I don't remember the other one. We were all similar heights actually, but I remember the one being a redhead. So yeah, Rebel Wilson and I were in a movie together, that's cool. So I've looked up movies about spaceships that blew up that Rebel Wilson was in, but those don't exist. I don't believe that she's done science fiction in this reality at least. And when I come out of this memory, sorry I keep looking over here, I'm watching myself in the viewfinder, I'm meaning to look at you. You're gorgeous, by the way. As I'm coming out of this memory, I am now down at the bottom right corner instead of where I started at the bottom left corner, and this is where it kicks in. This is where I realize that I've shifted. And so I start to like do a 360, like full 360, sometimes the other way around, also like looking around, up and down, around, like really confused, feeling like I don't know where I am. At least this version of me didn't know where I am. Obviously that reality me would know where I am, but this me didn't. I remember thinking either I have just arrived here by train and I have to leave, or I'm leaving by train and I don't know which train I'm supposed to take. And that was really not embarrassing, it made me feel anxious, because what if I had to get on a train and I didn't know when it was or where it was and which one it was. But then, like midway through left and right bottom of this square of chairs are Will and Jaden Smith. And I think they were in this reality that I shifted to because this was around the time right after the slap happened, like the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. And so I think that cemented itself so much into my brain that I shifted and they were there. But Jaden and Will Smith was there, and Jaden Smith asks me if I want a ride. He looked a little concerned for me. He was standing like, because Jaden was, if I'm Jaden, then Will was standing like right here, like not really focusing on me. It was only like Jaden looking at me, and he was like, "Do you need a ride?" And I looked at him and was like, "Yes." Like I was like, oh my god, please, thank you. This vibe with me and him, it felt like we had done a movie together, but we weren't like friends. We were more like close to friends, like between acquaintances and friends. Like whatever is in between there, friendly acquaintances, I don't know. And so we get in the car and we start driving down this road that looks like, I think Route 66 it's called. I'm not from America, but that long strip of road that is in the middle of nowhere. And as I'm sitting in this car, I remember thinking to myself, this is a small ass car. Like, not like what I literally thought, but I remember thinking, why is this car so small? Will, you have so much money, why are you driving in this small ass red car? It felt like it was so small that he had to sit like this and drive. But he was like fully, as far as I'm aware. And this is where I start to realize, I don't know when this is taking place. Like, I don't know, I know it's around Valentine's Day, but I don't know what year it is. So we're around early February, but I don't know what year. And so I look to Jaden, and still he's like sitting right behind his dad, and I'm sitting on the opposite side of the car with the middle seat between us. And I thank the shifting gods every single day that he did not look weird at me and question why I asked this, but I asked him, what year is it? Because if someone walked up to me and asked me what year it was, I'd be like, 2025? Like, what do you mean you don't know what year it is, bitch? Like, he doesn't even acknowledge me. He doesn't even look at me. He's like holding on to the seat in front of him and looking out the front window and looking at the road ahead. And he's like, 2000. So it's February whatever in the year 2000. And I think I'm around either very late teens or early 20s, and I'm around the same age as Jaden Smith in this reality. We're like around the same age. And it wouldn't surprise me if Rebel Wilson was in her 30s, either in that movie or at that time of like February 2000. And after asking that, I look down at my legs and I see that I have a gray metallic flip phone laying like in between my legs that are pressed together, so it's like resting on one of my legs. And I see on the teeny tiny screen that it says that I have a message. It said the name of a shifter friend I used to have, that I had back then, but I don't now. Don't worry about it. Anyway, and I remember thinking, oh my god, I have to tell her that I shifted. I have to tell her that I finally shifted. And that's when it hit me. Every single time I've scrolled on my Shift Talk For You page, every big Shift Talk creator, when they got asked, what do you need in order to shift? How can I shift? All of those questions. They all said, all you need in order to shift is your intention. And I always remember that with every video, I was like, no the fuck you don't. Like, it can't be that simple. Little did I know. I'm a stupid, dumb fucking bitch. So I remember thinking, well, I'm in the moment, I might as well check it out. And so I think to myself, while staring at like the headpiece thing that your head is resting on in the car, I'm staring at it and I remember thinking like repeatedly, I want to go back, I want to go back, I want to go back, I want to go back. I think that over and over again. And the more that I do that, the more my vision starts to darken as if I'm about to faint. You know, I don't know if you've experienced, I've experienced fainting once. And one of the effects that comes with that is your vision starts to like darken in. And that's where I realized my massive mistake I'm making. Why would I not want to stay in this reality and discover more? So immediately I start to think, fuck. And I thought to myself, no, I want to stay, I want to stay, I want to stay, I want to stay. But no. A little too late, like JoJo would sing. And then I'm back here. I'm back in my bed. I'm waking up in my bed again. And I've hated myself ever since. I gotta be honest. I've hated myself ever since for not believing them. Because it turns out it actually is that simple. Even simpler, actually, we've figured out. And so there have been a lot of people asking me how it feels to shift. And to be honest, the shift in and of itself, the going from one reality to another doesn't feel like anything, because to me it happens within the blink of an eye. Like when you're sleeping, you don't remember sleeping. Sleeping doesn't feel like anything unless you like have a dream, but then you only feel it when you wake up, you know? So I remember closing my eyes here and then opening them somewhere else. It didn't feel like anything because it happened so fast. I've actually also tried to look for the train station, but there's like a million train stations in America, and I don't know where I was. Well, apparently close to Route 66, so that could have narrowed it down, but still, I looked for hours and hours and used Google Maps, and I used the like pin thing where you can like actively look and turn around and look. I couldn't find it. Either I didn't find the place or it doesn't exist in this reality, the same with the movie. Oh, right. Time ratio. If you don't know what time ratio it is, how much time passes here versus where you're shifting to. And in that reality that I went to, where I was famous in the year 2000, I think I spent at max 20 minutes there. I would guess between 12 and 15 minutes. But when I woke up here again, it didn't feel like I've slept for hours. It feels like kind of that thing where you're so tired, you kind of like fall asleep and then wake up again. It kind of felt like I was like gone for at max a couple of minutes. So yeah, that is the story time of my first ever shift. Hopefully it would have inspired you a little bit, or given you motivation to try and shift tonight. And if you're trying to shift tonight, I hope you're successful. And if you did shift, please, please, please tell me about it, because I love hearing story times from shifters, from their successful shifts. I love it. No matter the reality, if I even know of the show or the movie that people shift to, I don't care. Tell me everything. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Let me know what else you would want to see from me. I have maybe 3, 4, at max 5 more story times up my sleeve that I could tell in other videos. But if there's anything else you want to see, let me know and comment it down below, and hopefully you'll leave a like to show me that you watched this video, that you appreciate me making these videos, that you enjoy watching these videos, and that you want me to make more videos. I think that's it. Bye!